Good evening, everyone. How's it going? This is your evening news recap. My name is James. I make these videos for you. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Substack, or whatever, I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Um, got some news to cover, but I hope everything's doing well. So with that being said, let's get started. For the segments today, we have a segment on the Trump administration, as always. We have a segment on the Signalgate lawsuit. And we have other news, as always. Opening up with the Trump segment today, the DC Circuit has denied Trump's request to lift the alien enemies injunction. Trump has announced a 25% tariff on all cars made outside of the U.S., and private data of U.S. security officials has been found online. For the first segment, DC Circuit denies Trump's request to lift the alien enemies injunction. A three-judge panel from D.C., the Circuit Court of Appeals, has denied the White House push to restart deportations under the Alien Enemies Act by a vote of 2-1. The judges left in place at the court order that blocks the Trump administration from deporting alleged Venezuelan gang members. The White House said it plans to appeal this in the Supreme Court. Judge Patricia Millett cited the reasoning as a lack of opportunity for alleged gang members to contest the case against them before being removed. She would say in a statement, "The government's removal scheme denies plaintiffs even a gossamer thread due to the process, no notice, no hearing, no opportunity, zero process to show that they are not members of the gang, to contest their eligibility for removal under the law, or to invoke legal protections against being sent to a place where it appears that they are likely going to be tortured and have their lives endangered." Okay. This is great news. That it was blocked, of course. It's good to hear that people aren't going to be unlawfully deported from the United States without due process. Hopefully, the Trump administration listens to these claims and um, doesn't just keep deporting people. But I mean, you never really know. Of course, Trump has already gone against judge orders on multiple occasions already, so it's very possible. But I mean, hopefully, this will go to the Supreme Court as mentioned, and I don't know how it will work out there. I have a feeling it might work out in Trump's favor, but I'm not too sure. I could see a lot of outcomes from this, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as always, I'll report on it when it does happen. For the next part, Trump has announced 25% tariffs on cars made outside of the US. Trump has announced a new import tax on 25% of cars and car parts coming into the US, a move that would widen the global trade war. These are the latest tariffs set to go into place on April 2nd, with charges on businesses who claim that who import vehicles the next day. He claimed the measure would lead to a tremendous growth for the car industry, an industry that famously does separate production across the globe for every single vehicle, and would have huge investments for the U.S. The U.S. imported roughly 8 million cars last year, around $240 billion in value, and this would majorly affect countries like Mexico, South Korea, Japan, Canada, and Germany, as they tend to be the leading trade partners in the auto industry. Trump was asked if he would reverse this decision, and he would say no, going on to say, this is permanent, but if you build your car in the United States, there will be no tariff. Get ready to pay more for cars, folks. This is so dumb for me personally. I don't like how American cars look. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm a huge fan of Japanese cars. Somebody just commented on a post and it threw me off. I'm a huge fan of Japanese cars, and my dream car is an AE86. For those who know what that is, it's the initial D car. Look it up if you don't. It's a pretty cool looking car in my opinion. I like the box cars and such, so that's kind of my my personal preference. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, as I mentioned, many of the processes for creating cars, like Ford branded cars, for example, during the process of production, they're shipped across borders of not just the United States, but into Canada and Mexico as well. Um, that was a terrible way to word that. I'm sorry, but I mean, overall, it just makes cars more expensive. There's no way to look around that, no matter what Trump says, because there's reasoning for not all production processes being done in the US. Like the Ford F 150s, they make a lot of their motors in Toronto, I believe, which is, uh, I don't. I don't remember the specific reason, but I believe it's due to uh, something to do with property. I don't know. Um, I probably should have looked into that. That's my apologies. But yeah, I mean, these cars are shipped across the border during all forms of production, and you're gonna impact it either way, even if they build factories here in the United States instead. For the final segment, in the Trump administration segment, private data of U.S. Social Security officials have been found online. According to Spiegel International, private contact details of the most important security officials to the US President Donald Trump can be found on the internet. Der Spiegel reporters were able to find mobile phone numbers, email addresses, and even some passwords of top officials in the Trump administration. To do this, reporters used commercial and people search engines along with hacked customer data that have been published on the web. Those affected by these leaks include National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. And a majority of these numbers and emails are still in use and are currently leaked to profiles on in social media like Instagram and LinkedIn, along with WhatsApp and, of course, Signal accounts. So, are they going to say they haven't breached national security yet? Because, I mean, the proof is right there. I mean, the past few days have just been um, proof of them breaching national security. I mean, the next segment is a whole segment based on the Signalgate lawsuit, something that they are at fault for breaching national security. Oh, Pepper's over there. So I mean, we'll see how this plays out. I'm excited to see the lawsuit and what happens within it. Because I think they're gonna lose. I mean, there's no way they win, right? The proof is right there. Atlantic has the receipts, so I mean, why wouldn't they? I guess. All right. Moving on to the next segment on the Signalgate lawsuit. For this segment, we have James Boasberg assigned to the Signalgate lawsuit. The Atlantic has today released more Signal group chat logs. And Steve Witnikoff was in Moscow while in the Signal group chat. James Boasberg has been assigned to the Signalgate lawsuit. Judge James Boasberg has been assigned to the Signalgate lawsuit after his repeated clashes against the Trump administration in recent lawsuits. On Wednesday morning, Boasberg was assigned to preside over the lawsuit, alleging that the Trump's cabinet secretaries and national security aides violated federal record-keeping laws when they used the Signal chat group to discuss war plans in Yemen and accidentally included an Atlantic journalist. The spokesperson for Boasberg confirmed that the case was assigned through the court's random typical assignment process, and there would be 19 other judges total on the case. I'll take a sip of water here. Okay. This is a big one. As we know, Boasberg has stuck it to Trump so far his entire administration, and I'm very well sure that he'll continue. But of course, the administration will probably whine and complain when they lose, because that's just how it goes these days in the United States. But The proof is in the pudding. It's very clear that they fucked up because you're using, for one, a website that's not secure, and for two, you're discussing American war plans, which should be even worse, but somehow, according to the Trump administration, that is in no way against national security. Don't understand that one, but that's the world we live in today. Moving on to the next segment, The Atlantic has released more text from the Signal group chat. Today, The Atlantic published additional text messages from the Signal group chat with Trump's national security officials sharing information about the Houthi attacks that was shared in the chat. Trump and his team repeatedly sought to downplay the situation since Monday and denied there was a war plan shared. The published text messages offer extremely detailed descriptions in the attack, including the airplanes and drones used. In a message sent at 11:44 a.m. Eastern Time, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth shared operation details about the strike, saying, "Weather is favorable, just confirmed. WCENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch." U.S. officials say the information is not classified, but the plans were shared in detail. I was going to click on it and read it. I guess I can't really show you. I'm reading the chat logs. So here's what he said in one of the new chat logs released. Team update. Time is now favorable 144 or 11:44 Eastern Time. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed. WCENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. 1-2-15 set F-18 launch first airstrike package. 13:45 trigger-based F-18 strike Windows target. Terrorists is at his known location, so should be on time. Also strike drones launch MQ-9s. Sorry, this is like very small text to read. 14:10 more F-18s launched in the second strike package. 14:15 state drones on target. Now my vision is like blurring. Okay, state drones on target. This is the first bombs that will definitely drop pending earlier trigger-based targets. 1536 F1B. No, I don't know if that says F1B or F16, but I'm going to assume it says F16. Second strike starts. Also, first sea-based Tomahawks launched. According to The Atlantic, the information was received 2 hours before the start of the bombing. Jeffrey Goldberg, the writer of the article, says this information is particularly the exact times American aircraft were taking off in Yemen had fallen into the wrong hands. In that crucial 2-hour period, American pilots and other American personnel could have been exposed to a greater danger than they ordinarily would face. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz later texted to confirm a target's death, saying that 2 p.m. Eastern Time, the first target, their top missile guy, we had a positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building, and now it collapsed. Later in the day, Hegseth confirmed more strikes, saying, "Great job all. More strikes ongoing for hours tonight. We will provide full initial reports tomorrow, but on time, on target, and good readouts so far." Goldberg would make a statement on MSNBC about the decision to publish the rest of the information, saying, "We did redact one piece of information because we felt on our own that we felt it was the best to do, and the CIA asked us. But, at a certain point, the administration is saying there's nothing classified or secret or sensitive in these. So at a certain point, I just felt, let our readers decide for themselves." In a response, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a post on social media, "The Atlantic conceded these war plans. The entire story was another hoax written by a Trump hater who was well known for his sensationalist spin." As we know, these text logs have already been confirmed by, I think, the National Security Administration. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm 99.9% sure they were confirmed by the National Security Administration. Anyways, from my statement, This is a big situation. It's clear that this is a national security breach. The White House can say whatever they want, but they're not getting past that. More information is coming out constantly about this topic every day, and I will continue to provide updates as the week goes on. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's very clear that the Trump administration is wrong. I've said that for like the past three statements that have been about this, but um, they have no they they don't have the votes to quote Hamilton, I guess. They're not going to win this. It's clear that they are in the wrong and they need to be held accountable for it. And I really hope that they are held accountable for it, but we'll have to see when, of course, the lawsuit begins. Steve Witnikoff was in Moscow while in a Signal group chat. Trump's Ukraine and Middle East envoy Steve Witnikoff was in a Moscow meeting with Putin when he was included in a group chat with top administration officials and Atlantic journalists on the messaging app Signal. According to Flightradar 24, he arrived at Moscow around noon local time on March 13th. Russian state media also broadcasted a video of his motorcade leaving Vnukovo International Airport. About 12 hours later, he was added to a Houthi PC small group on Signal. According to Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist, he does not recall Witkoff making any statements in the chat until Saturday when he left Russia and returned to the U.S. Sources told CBS he did not bring any devices to Russia with Signal on it. Caroline Levitt said in a statement that he was given access to a, quote, classified protected server by the United States government, and he was careful about his communications when he was in Russia, end quote. So why is this an issue? Russia has repeatedly tried to compromise Signal on multiple occasions, and this could be a huge problem if officials intend on sharing military plans on the platform, as Russia could get a hold of them very easily. I mean, I I don't even know why we're using. I haven't even heard of this app until this whole ordeal went down, and apparently it's like some popular media app. Never even heard of it myself before it went down. So like, why? I feel like the government definitely has better apps for talking to the people you know if they aren't able to use like unsecure websites and such to talk to people. But I mean, why would you choose something that's been attacked by Russia multiple times? Is it because you're Russian adversaries? Maybe, but I don't know the answer to that, so I can't say anything about it. I don't know. Such an interesting topic. Such an interesting topic. And as I've said the past millions of times at this point, I'm excited to read about the case and see how the case goes down. Moving on to the other news segment, we have Democrats flip Pennsylvania Senate seat. 4 American soldiers have been found dead near the Belarus border. And Republicans want to defund NPR and PBS. All right. Democrats flipped a Pennsylvania Senate seat. A Democrat won a state Senate seat in Pennsylvania district that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. James Malone won on Tuesday in the 36th Senate district, which voted for Trump over Harris by more than 15 points. Malone said in his response to the victory, "I am very excited and really, really happy that the work we've put into this paid off. Everyday voters are not liking what they're seeing at the federal level. They don't like the chaos. We want to be sure that we, as the Pennsylvania, and are standing up for our neighbors and standing up for our state. And brotherly love is Pennsylvania, and that's just proved it. Our kindness over criticism, right? So that's what we're going to try to do." And I think that really is what we're looking at moving forward. This is great news. Honestly, I didn't follow this election because I didn't expect Pennsylvania to win their elections. I expected it to happen in Florida and in a few other districts, but Pennsylvania was one of the ones I didn't follow or expect to see win. But I'm glad they did. I think it's very important to or obviously it's very important to get this seat, as this is one of the last opportunities we have to kind of defend against not only the Trump administration, but MAGA as a whole. So hopefully we can win the elections in Wisconsin, in Florida, and I believe there's another one in South Carolina. And I think there might be another. But big win here, obviously, and we're looking forward to hopefully some more big wins for the Democratic Party. Of course, as I've mentioned previously, I myself am not a Democrat, but it's the left party in the United States, so got to support the wins. Moving on to the next statement. 4 American soldiers found dead near the Belarus border. 4 soldiers died this week during a training incident in Lithuania, according to the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Rutte told reporters, "This is still early news, so we do not know the details. This is really terrible news, and our thoughts are with the families and loved ones." The soldiers have been missing since Tuesday afternoon and were members of the 3rd Infantry Division of the 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team, based out of Fort Stewart, Georgia. Their identities have not been released as the military waits to notify next of kin before making it public. The report suggested that soldiers had their vehicles submerged in a swamp and they were trapped there. They were partaking in a routine military exercise near Parabde, I think that's how you say that, a strategic military area close to the Belarusian border. My condolences with the family of these troops. It's always unfortunate to hear about a loss of anyone, especially the troops who serve to protect our country. Hopefully this was just an accident and it wasn't caused by any outside forces, but we'll wait to see. As mentioned, my condolences to the family. I wish them luck and success in this time of great need, because nobody deserves to lose a loved one. All right, the final segment. Big segment, but Republicans want to defund NPR and PBS. During a House meeting, NPR and PBS were in the spotlight before delivering on the Government Efficiency Subcommittee as Republicans grilled the CEOs for publishing biases. The hearing, titled Anti-American Airwaves, and held the heads of NPR and PBS accountable for signaling that they would cut federal funding for the organizations. The Corporation of Public Broadcasting, in charge of distributing the funds to public media, distributes $374.5 million to news media outlets across the country. At the end of the hearing, Marjorie Taylor Greene called for the, quote, complete and total defund and dismantling of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. She said, quote, we believe that you all can hate us on your own dime, end quote. She also questioned the need for public media because many listeners and viewers get their information from podcasts and the internet. She accused PBS and NPR of being radically left-wing echo chambers for their narrow audience of mostly wealthy, white, urban liberals and progressives who generally look down and judge rural America. Democrats would go on to use Sesame Street characters to mock the Republican attacks and highlight the benefits of PBS children's programs and the necessity to rural areas. In a series of questions and use of the characters, Roberto Garcia brought up Bert and Ernie, this was my personal favorite claim, saying, quote, now these two guys live together. They're friends. They support each other. Now that might be triggering to our chairwoman and some of those on the committee. Miss Kerger, are Bert and Ernie part of an extreme homosexual agenda? Kerger would answer no. Garcia would add, now, obviously there's some humor here, but the fact that we're here today talking about defunding public television is actually not funny, at a time where we can't agree on basic facts. And while the press is under attack, we need public media like PBS and NPR more than ever. Y'all ready for this one? Hi, how's it going? It's your favorite farm kid who stands for the right thing to do and supports your fellow Americans. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene says these media outlets are used by white people who look down on rural America. But you know what's crazy? I'm from and grew up in rural America. And I can tell you that's not the case. Do you want to know why? Because I read these articles very frequently as sources to bring news to you. I can guarantee that I am support all for supporting rural Americans, as that's where I grew up. That's where a majority of my life experience is. I've spent a majority of my life living on a farm and farming myself. I am a farmer born and raised. I can tell you 100% that what she said is not the case. Granted, a lot of farmers might agree with her, as few and honestly a majority are consumed by the MAGA agenda, which is quite unfortunate. But truly, what she said is not the case. Programs like PBS are essential for many of us who live out in the boondocks because a lot of us don't have cable. Um, and we rely on PBS and other sources for media and news. I mean, I grew up watching PBS Kids at my grandma's house. The Dinosaur Train, one of the best shows I've ever seen. I've, I mean, she claims her claims are inherently false because I'm living proof um that it's not read by people looking down on rural America. I, I think it's unfortunate that farmers support the Trump administration so much because of the claims that they make and how obviously negatively impactful a majority of the decisions made are for farmers. But unfortunately, that's just kind of how it goes. Farmers tend to lean more conservative for the most part. Um, I don't know. A lot of things are going on, of course, with a lot of situations across the country, and I don't know where I'm going with this point. I think the questioning of media sources that have essentially been around forever and have been outlets for Americans to not only learn about what's going on in their country, but be able to learn about what's going on in their country for free, which is a valuable asset because so many media organizations charge for news, which is so stupid. I will never do that to you guys. I fucking hate that concept. If you want free news, come here because I'm never going to charge you a penny for news. Um, but yeah, I think there's a lot to discuss here, obviously, and it's obvious that she is or Republicans are in the wrong for this case. But I mean, what are you going to do about it? I guess. Anyways, with that being said, thank you everyone for watching. I don't really have much to talk about today. My Chuckle Sandwich merch came in yesterday. I know I mentioned that for anyone who watches Chuckle Sandwich. I'm repping the unlimited bacon but no games T-shirt today. It's pretty fire. If I do say so myself, it's pretty comfortable. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope all of you guys have a wonderful evening and a wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.